We have Alistair, Phantom Knights, and Melffy. So make sure you guys smash the link crap out of that Chaos Origin button so you guys don't miss out more Oz content. So this was one of the earliest builds that I saw playing Mitsurugi in combination with Alistair the Invoker. Now, it's pretty interesting to see that they're choosing to play the pot of Lazy in here, but it does give you the ability to kind of go second. Now, that's the thing I like about this deck. Like, Alistair being able to do something while going first is incredibly good. They also have access to King of the Feral Imps, which kind of allows this deck kind of some broken BS for the way that it's kind of able to set up. But I am curious to know, like, long term, if this will be a list that Mitsurugi will adapt towards. You know, are we actually going to see something come with this? Because looking at this as a whole, I love the concepts, I love the ideas, and I do hope that, you know, players will find an ability to, you know, make a build like this work, because this is awesome. Next up is Phantom Knights, and it's kind of crazy to me to look at these Phantom Knight lists and just go, wow, there is an insanely amount of, you know, trap cards in these decks. But now, the way that this deck functions is, I mean, like, you rank up into the new Ophion, or you rank up into the Evil Swarm Ophion, and you kind of ride your boss monster to victory. Like, that's kind of the whole point of this deck. You also do have access to the new Supreme Starving, or excuse me, the new Supreme Rebellion Dragon, which is another target. I mean, like, once again, I mean, that thing ranks up in Ophion, which is great. They're also playing the Exo Sister in here, because you can mode change into any monster that is dark. So, kind of get access to some of the funnier little toolbox options. Also, you do see we are playing Cherubini in here. Cherubini does provide you another asset to dump down monsters, so that's kind of important to think about. Next up here, we have Melffy of the Forest with the Chimera package. Now, I have seen a good chunk of interesting Melffy list. It just kind of comes down to, you know, what perks and what benefits do you get for combining the engine with what? Now, when you look at Melffy, I mean, one of the first things you're going to go is, okay, you activate spell card, you go +4, and you go end phase. I mean, like, what advantage does that make? Well, it actually allows you to build up a pretty decent field, which is pretty good, because that's exactly what the Melffys do. You know, they're going to do all the interactions during the end phase, and then you're kind of just going to set up and play the game during the opponent's turn. Now, kind of keep in mind, look at some of the things that we've got going on here. You know, we do have the Draco Berserker, we have the Sylvie we can actually make, and of course, you know, the OCG still has Herald, which, I mean, Herald being a tool that this deck can actually jump into is a little bit insane, but I mean, it does actually help out with the end board, so that's nice. Next up, we have, I see we're playing some of the new Dark Magician support with Voiceless. Now, this is not a terrible combination of things. It's just, I see we're playing Mind Shuffle in here. That's kind of cool. But in terms of what you're doing, I do see we are playing the new Ritual Inscription in here, which is kind of strong. But you do get access to the Fiend stuff through the Karibo, which is fine. You are doing Super Poly shenanigans. As we've kind of learned, like, Super Poly kind of works as one of these more devastating packages within the meta. Obviously, you know, you have a wide, and I mean a wide range of Super Poly targets down here for you to be able to work with. So as long as you're covering those key monsters, Super Poly should work to your benefit, and you should be able to get a pretty decent amount of coverage on that. Next up here, we have Fabled. Now, for all intents and purposes, a Fabled Fiendsmith is still a very workable deck. You just got to remember the OCG has Engraver locked up at 1, which does kind of cause some problems for this deck's consistency. I'm not going to be the first one to sit here and try to justify, oh yeah, Fabled, it's consistent. No. I do also appreciate the fact that we are playing the Diabellstar package. We're just playing Diabellstar in here, just to be able to, I guess, kick something out of the hand. It's kind of interesting. Maybe the Azamina package would have been something to kind of consider within this deck. Because we've seen a couple of lists being able to kind of have that sub boss monster, you know, that you could generate. It can make all the difference. But I mean, like, You go down Fabled lines, kind of gets up. We're not even like doing Beelzebub or anything like that. So this is just, you know, how much gas on the Fabled setup can you get through to make your, you know, big Desiree. Kind of a shame you don't get much more than that. Next up is Orchest Yummy. First of all, we've seen this list far too much. This deck is kind of like one of the scary boogeyman of the OCG, where it's like, you know, the Yummy combo just kind of enables some very generically stupid stuff. You also get, you know, access into the Cupid pitch, which then, you know, reverse engineers a lot more of the combo line than it really should enable. You know, the minute you can slap a Borreload Savage on the field, you know, cratering up, you know, one of your cards, it's usually pretty good. Now, I do find it interesting. We are playing the new Link 5 in here, which is kind of cool. I do like this card. You know, I do believe it is a Dark Machine monster. So that is something that you could technically Orchest into to kind of think about. So, I don't know. Some little considerations for 500. Next up, we actually have Water Charmers. And I say Water Charmer, but you know, you're playing the one little water monster in here, which is kind of cool. You are doing Bahamut Shark interactions, which, if you know anything about the last OCG ban list, them bringing back Totally Awesome, totally was not awesome, actually. Like, this little guy causes more problems than he does good. And that's a little bit saying something. I do also see we are doing Wave King Kaiser in here, just because I assume that we can water reveal, do some higher level expectations with that. We're also playing the whale, which I assume will be our reveal target for this. But outside of that, I mean, standard Shark Drake stuff. You have pretty much all of the fish stuff, and then you have the mini familiar possessed package in here to kind of trigger off this little possessed monster to kind of get your setup and go. It's kind of interesting. Next up, oh wow, so this is one of the funnier lists that I saw. Because when we were first looking at this, we were like, what is the Colossal Fighter Assault mode actually Foolish Burial? And then I was like, can't we just Foolish Burial Phantom Knight monsters? Because on its summon, it sends 2 warrior monsters from the deck to the graveyard. Now, you got to remember, when we're looking through Neuron, there will always be a couple of lists that we're going to walk into that we're going to be like, huh, you know, why is this here? You know, why is this functioning in the way that it is? And this was one of those cases that I looked at and I was like, you know, the Phantom Knight stuff is good, but we're really walking into a realm of weird creativity that you can do with these things, especially this list playing triple MST with like no other real purpose to kind of back it up. And obviously like your equips that you're kind of working with, maybe not the greatest, but this deck has some haha funny behind it. Next up, we have some White Forest. Now, things I will tell you about this list. Being able to have the Dark Magician Girls and the Curtains to turbo through a lot of the broken board, gonna be pretty good. Also, White Forest field spell interactions is gonna be really good because you can convert your stupid White Forest field spell into Secret Village, and then you get to soft lock your opponent. Like, you have a lot of tools that a deck like this feels like it shouldn't necessarily have. But this is what the OCG is doing with the deck. This is the new terror that we have been kind of venturing towards. And I gotta say, this is not exactly a deck that I want to run into competitively because I feel like it is absolutely going to decimate me. Because there's just so many different cool key features that you're able to work with this. It's kind of nuts. And our last list here is 60 card Blue Eyes Odeon. You know, the fact that somebody thought this up and this actually works is kind of crazy because, you know, you do get a lot more consistency with the Blue Eyes. I mean, 60 cards, you know, get a discard, get the Maiden, you know, it can set up, and then you can just kind of dedicate your summon to the Odeon. The Odeon is also a spellcaster. So, you know, there is some reverse synergy that this deck actually can kind of have, but this is definitely creative. Once again, you do get to see the usage of the Cool Tune Synchro Monster down there. But please, you know, take a second to leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.